Consequences produced by acculturative stress towards physical mental well-being. Points. The first point is that acculturative stress produces a negative impact on the learning and mental health of international students. The second point is that parental acculturative stresses positively relate to parent-child and interparental conflict. The third point is that the continuation of acculturative stress in immigrants despite prolonged immigration results in depression and health-seeking behavior. One is assessing acculturative stress of international students at a US community. Past research has shown that due to acculturative stress, international students in US colleges have experienced adverse effects on both their learning and health. For most international students, linguistic issues hinder communication, resulting in feelings of loneliness and isolation. Compounding the issue is the daunting task of seeking help, especially in younger students due to a variety of reasons, such as stigma. This article is called Parental Acculturative Stresses and Adolescent Adjustment to Interparental and Parent-Child Relationships in Chinese American Families and describes the acculturative stresses of perpetual foreigner stereotype and bicultural management frequently experienced by Asian American families. The study further elaborates on the family stress model to determine how the presence of the aforementioned acculturative stresses in parents relates to measures in adolescent adjustment. These adjustments in adolescence can include depressive symptoms, delinquent behaviors, and changes in academic performance. Path models exemplified that parental acculturative stresses had a positive relationship to parental-child conflict as well as interparental conflict, both resulting in a sense of alienation between parent and child. Furthermore, this also related to more depressive symptoms, more delinquent behaviors, and even lower academic performance in adolescence. The study highlights the significance of screening for acculturative stress and depression in migrants, and the influence of persisting acculturative stress and depression. Several sources of acculturative stress have been reported among Filipino immigrants, such as loneliness, loss of social support networks, underemployment, unemployment due to unrecognized overseas credentials, lack of host language skills, and discrimination. Further, despite long durations of stay in Australia, Filipino Australian migrants continue to experience depression resulting in lower health-seeking behaviors, which refers to any activity undertaken by an individual where they perceive themselves to possess a health problem and in turn seek treatment. This means that Filipino migrants in Australia are underusing mental health services, resulting in ongoing depression and digression into unhealthy habits such as smoking and drinking. Pros and cons. Pros for Article 1 include source was a journal article and therefore a stronger source. Article used a variety of statistics and references to other journal articles, demonstrating reliability. However, a con was that the study was conducted in USA and thus cannot be easily generalized to acculturative experiences in Australia. Article 2 pros include provides a clear outline of each stage in the research project process which can all be easily understood. However, the con is that the study is a correlational study, thus causal relationships cannot be ascertained. For Article 3, the pros include diagrams and tables which provide visual assistance, and the study was conducted in Australia with relation to Filipino migrants into Australia. However, the lack of sampling frame for this target group resulted in web-based recruitment and convenient sampling. Overall, the evidence found from all three articles provided relatively sufficient evidence to support the assertion that the presence of acculturative stress can have a negative impact on a person's physical or mental well-being. Further, the information also demonstrates the various ways acculturative stress in international students, acculturative stress in parents that leads to a change in adolescence, and the ongoing persistence of acculturative stress despite long-term stay in host country, in which this stress can adversely influence a person's life, despite the articles possessing varying limitations that could weaken the generalizability of the information.